Lesson 11, Roles and Responsibilities Part 3, Management Roles. Welcome to Lesson 11. In this lesson, we'll study SIAM structural elements that carry out management activities, rather than the governance activities we studied in the previous lesson. These include process forums, working groups, the service desk. We discussed operational boards when we looked at governance roles in the previous lesson. We studied the definition of process forums and working groups earlier in the course. A process forum is aligned to specific processes or practices. Its members work together on proactive development, innovations, and improvements. Forums will convene regularly, for as long as the SIAM model is in place. A working group is convened to address specific issues or projects. They are typically formed on a reactive ad hoc or fixed-term basis. They can include staff from different organizations and different specialist areas. The process forums and working groups that are put into place as part of a SIAM model will vary, depending on the processes and activities that are in place. In large organizations with many service providers, there could be large numbers of process forums and working groups. In smaller environments, there may be fewer. Forums can be combined if it makes sense to do so. For example, the change management and the configuration management forums might be combined because they use the same resources. The incident management process forum and working groups might be combined. Although, if this is the case, it's important to make sure proactive tasks aren't neglected because reactive work is seen as more urgent. Each organization will need to think about the balance between the number of meetings taking place and the value they are delivering. There are some generic roles that will attend working groups and process forums, which we'll study next. You may have come across these role titles in your career already. Click on the process owner, process manager, service owner, and service manager to learn a bit more about them. A process owner is accountable for end-to-end process design and for the performance of the process overall. The service integrator and the service providers will each have staff and process owner roles. A service integrator process owner will be accountable for end-to-end process integration across all service providers. For example, each service provider might have a change manager, the change management process owner. The service integrator also has a change manager who integrates change management across all service providers. One point that's important to remember is that one role does not equal one full-time employee. A process owner is a role, but that might not be one person's full-time job. The service integrator change manager might also be process owner for dependent processes like configuration and release management. The service provider change manager might be the process owner for change management across multiple contracts. These roles. A process manager is responsible for process execution, carrying out activities that form part of the process. In larger SIAM models, process managers will support the process owner. For example, a number of service-level analysts could support the service-level management process owner by creating reports and carrying out analysis against service targets. The service integrator and service provider organizations might have process manager roles in place. The service owner role is most commonly part of the customer organization because of its strategic nature and importance. The role includes accountability for end-to-end service performance, definition of the service strategy, forecasting service demand and business requirements, being the service budget holder. The service owner will work closely with the service integrator, for example, to share service demand information that will help the service integrator plan for service provision. A service manager role is typically carried out by the service integrator. It is responsible for the delivery of one or more services. This role will work closely with the service owner. All the roles in the SIAM ecosystem help to build relationships and give opportunities for staff to communicate and collaborate. We're going to look at an example of a process forum. and then ask you to work through an exercise for an example of a working group. You can see some examples of process forums and working groups on screen here. The forum example we're going to look at is the Knowledge Management Forum. This will be facilitated by the Service Integrator's Knowledge Management Process Owner. Remember, process forums are proactive, focused on the performance and effectiveness of the process. Click on Attendees, Frequency, and Responsibilities to learn more. Attendees at the Knowledge Management Process Forum could include Service Integrator Process Owner, Service Provider Process Owners or Process Managers, Service Integrator Service Manager when required, Subject Matter Experts as required, Customer Representation as required. The attendees will vary according to the agenda. Can you think of any other roles that would attend in your organization? Process forums are typically held monthly. If a process is very new or is not performing well, they might be held more frequently. The forum's responsibilities will include identifying new knowledge articles that are needed, based on data including service desk reports, assessing the accuracy and usage of existing knowledge articles, giving service providers an opportunity to collaborate and share knowledge. Process reports will be a useful input to the meeting, for example, showing the number of knowledge articles and the last time they were updated. Now it's time for you to document an operational role. Plan to spend 20 minutes on this exercise, and don't forget to check out our suggested solution. The Major Incident Working Group is convened during a major incident to coordinate the response, facilitate communication, and provide regular updates. You are the service integrator, and you've been asked to produce a document explaining this meeting to the service providers. Use your knowledge and experience, and the process guides if you need them, to detail a description of the working group. Who should attend? How often will it be convened? Its typical responsibilities. Finally, in this lesson, we need to discuss an important role and its place in the SIAM ecosystem. The service desk, or help desk as you may refer to it, provides support and information to end users. Within a SIAM ecosystem, the service desk acts as a central port of information and can provide important data about service performance. Within a SIAM model, the service desk could be provided in a number of different ways. The customer organization could provide the service desk. The service integrator could provide the service desk. An external service provider could provide the service desk and no other services. An external service provider could provide the service desk and other services. There could be different service desks at each service provider, with the service integrator providing a consolidated view. The service desk provider will be treated as a service provider and will work closely with the service integrator. The role of the service desk in a SIAM model is very similar to a traditional service desk role. The staff on the desk might need additional supplier management skills and a greater level of commercial awareness to help them navigate the contractual agreements in place in a SIAM ecosystem, and to understand how one element of a service affects the whole end-to-end service. They may need skills to help them communicate service desk to service desk as they work with other parties in the SIAM model, rather than just talking to end users. Click on the Next button to access your end-of-lesson quiz when you're ready. When you finish the quiz, click the Next button again to move on. You've completed Lesson 11, where we've studied process forums, working groups, the service desk,